We dedicate the entire show to back to school. Join us tonight at 5:30.
Elections officially begins with Iraq and terrorism lurking in the background. Labor Day and the political season is launched. On what issues will the elections turn? Terrorism or the sluggish economy? Will the ongoing debate over attacking Iraq affect politics? And what is at stake for President Bush? All questions for the chairman of the two political committees. For the Republicans, Mark Roscoe. For the Democrats, Terry McAuliffe. Then we'll turn to Tom Friedman, foreign affairs columnist for the New York Times, and talk about Iraq, our reluctant allies, and the conflicts within the Bush administration. The midterm elections and Iraq on Face the Nation.
Face the Nation with Chief Washington correspondent Bob Schieffer. And now from Washington, substituting for Bob Schieffer, CBS News Chief White House correspondent John Roberts.
And good morning and welcome again to the broadcast. Bob Schieffer is off this morning. Joining us now, Republican Party Chairman Mark Roscoe and Democratic Party Chairman Terry McAuliffe. Good morning to you, gentlemen.
Good morning.
So Iraq is high on everybody's agenda this morning. Bob Dole has come out in an editorial in the Washington Post today saying the president needs to seek congressional approval. Senator John McCain has also said the same thing. Governor Roscoe, does the president need to go to Congress for either a resolution or a declaration of war before he goes into Iraq? Should that be his choice?
Well, as a matter of law, he does not. I think everyone unanimously agrees upon that particular concept. But he's already said that he intends to consult with Congress and with our allies, so I don't think there's any issue for debate there.
But there's a difference between consultation and actually seeking approval.
Well, I think that the president has indicated that the exigencies of the circumstances at the time prevailing and the requirements, the imperatives that have to be vindicated, he'll address in a common sense and thoughtful way as the commander-in-chief. It's what he's done from the very beginning. That's what I expect he'll do when these circumstances present themselves to him as well.
Terry McAuliffe, House Minority Leader Gephardt said last week that it's got to come to a vote, some kind of a vote. You believe that the president needs to go to Congress?
Well, I think the president should. I think he needs to get a mandate from the American public and from Congress to go into Iraq, and I think it would be the smart thing to do to have all of America working together. Because I think today, John, I think some Americans are very confused where we are with Iraq. As you know, just last week, the president and Secretary Rumsfeld came out in the front lawn of Crawford and said we need to slow down. The media was moving too fast towards Iraq.
Frenzy, they called it.
Frenzy. And then, literally, within 3 days, Vice President Cheney gives a speech and says we need to go immediately. So I think people are very perplexed to where we are. I think when the president comes back this week, I think he needs to talk to the country. I think he needs to talk to the members of Congress so that we can have a consensus as we move towards Iraq. And as you know, there are a lot of issues within the Republican Party, within the own Bush family, about what we should do with Iraq. So let's get all those issues out of the way. Let's have a good, healthy debate and then make a decision.
On that point, if you could consider former Secretary of State James Baker in the Bush family, he came out and said, furthermore, the president needs to go to the United Nations.
You know, there's no mystery here, John. The fact of the matter is this is a very open society, and it's a very open administration, as much as it can be open, while also vindicating the requirements of being the commander-in-chief and serving the best national security interests of the American people. This has been a debate and a discussion in public view. It's a process of probing and testing, so it's very healthy. There's no mystery here at all. It's just exactly what it appears to be.
We also seem to see, though, I mean, there's the external debate, but there seems to be an internal debate as well that's playing out in public. We have the vice president came out last week and said, it looks like inspections won't work. He almost de facto said the military option is the only option. Then we have Colin Powell telling the British Broadcasting Corporation in an interview this morning, well, our initial goal is to get inspectors in. And the president has said, I haven't made up my mind, but I want Saddam Hussein out. Can the administration back off? Can it say, okay, we'll get inspectors in there, we'll back off our goal on getting Saddam Hussein out, or does the president lose too much face doing that?
This is a process of constantly changing circumstances. Everyone unanimously agrees upon the threat, the danger that's there. And in an open democracy, there is a lot of debate and discussion, a lot of probing, a lot of discovery. And then the commander-in-chief distills that information and makes a decision. It's nothing more mysterious than that, and that's what's going on, is this public discussion presently.
Terry, do you expect that there's going to be an October surprise, if you will? Not necessarily in October, maybe late September. Will the president announce action against Iraq and begin some sort of mobilization?
I don't think so, but then again, I don't think President Bush is listening to the chairman of the Democratic National Committee as it relates to his Iraqi policy. But I don't think that we are going to go in before the elections because, As we've talked about here, the American public are confused on the issue today. Within the Republican Party, there are many different positions on it within, as I said before, the Bush family. Before we go and commit our American men and women to go over there and fight in Iraq, I think we need to have a consensus of why we're going in, what we're going for, in the timing. I agree with Chairman Roscoe that, listen, we need to get rid of Saddam Hussein, but it's an issue of timing. When do we do it? When do we do it so we would have the least casualties, and what's in the best interest of the United States of America? And today there's a lot of issues out there, but I think they'll all be addressed when we come back this fall.
Now let's talk about the issues as we lead toward the midterm elections on November the 5th. 6 seats in the House, 1 in the Senate. Both houses have individually been as close, but to the best of my knowledge, together they've never been this close. What are the issues that this election is going to turn on? Guns or butter or both?
Well, I think that when you focus upon the domestic agenda that the president has focused upon all the way along, this was the focus of his campaign. They're the issues that he's worked on diligently since he's been in office. The Republican House of Representatives has passed scores of legislation, pieces of legislation that now lie latent at the doorstep of the United States Senate, which hasn't even passed a budget yet, as required by law. I think the continuation will be a focus upon those issues, but we have a very good position to argue from, we believe, because we have actually moved forward in a very competent, very businesslike way. The House has been very thorough in their examination. They've been very efficient. They presented a litany of different pieces of legislation to the Senate. The president has accomplished a great deal of his domestic agenda with education, with tax reform, with trade promotion authority. Pension reform is pending with the corporate governance issues. We also know he has an energy bill that's there, prescription drug benefits. All of those things, faith-based initiatives, are critically important to him, and he continues to push on them. I think when you talk about that in the context of national security, that what the American people have been able to see as a result of his performance there is someone who leads in a very clear and thoughtful way, and in a way that is allowing for the rest of the world to understand what our imperatives are.
Well, going to Terry, in terms of clear and thoughtful way, you've been very critical of the president, saying every time President Bush's economic team opens their mouths, markets shudder, currencies collapse, Americans watch their 401ks diminish. I mean, obviously, it looks like you're going with the idea of the economy being one of the front-running issues, but at the same time, if you're so critical of the president and his handling of the economy and deficits, why is there no great hue and cry among Democrats in Congress to repeal the tax cut?
Well, first of all, as it relates to what the president has done, as I've said consistently, I think this administration's agenda on the domestic agenda, the kitchen table issues, has been a disaster. I mean, just look at the numbers. You saw the Congressional Budget Office just come out last week, nonpartisan, to say that, we're spending the Social Security Trust Fund. We're in deficit spending, $458 billion, which is $183 billion, John, more than the White House had predicted. We don't have a prescription drug benefit today in this country. So I think the issue is going to come down to who will do a better job on the domestic agenda, the kitchen table issues, who's going to preserve Social Security, who's going to give us a real prescription drug benefit. That's something that the Republicans passed in the House, which the pharmaceutical companies, as you know, put up $5 million to run ads. Now, listen, the pharmaceutical companies have been taking billions of dollars out of seniors' pockets. If they're put up money to support a piece of legislation, that would make me worry. I think we're going to do very well this fall. I think we're going to win anywhere from 4 to 7 pickups in governorships. I think we win 2 to 3 House